And yo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.
I want you to get into the themes. Yeah. What are some of the central themes that have been explored in setting standards number 4, and why are they important to you?
What themes, as in songwriting?
Themes as in, yeah, the songs that you've put together for this album.
See, it's mad you say that, because I fully trusted the artists that were involved in this project, and I didn't want to influence them with their rhymes at all. I think the only person that we had a conversation about, like a concept, was Lady Sanity with Save the Children.
Right.
And Save the Children came about because the beat was already there, and I wanted to have a female MC. I have to say this as well, Cyclonius, that introduced me to Lady Sanity. You know what I mean? He introduced me to quite a few artists that are on setting standards as well. But yeah, Lady Sanity, I have to salute Cy, because he's the person that linked me and her together. And as soon as some artists, I'm not going to say no names, but there was a couple of artists that I gave that beat to before and came with the same concept. It's about Save the Children. I want it to be like a child's like a letter to their parents or whatever. But that was the only scope that I gave them. Other artists didn't want to do it. Like they took the beat, whatever, then they didn't do it. So I approached Lady Sanity, immediately she did it. And getting back to what you said, songwriting, like I fully trusted all of the artists that's on the record, because I can tell you, like, as soon as I heard the bars that anybody was coming, I got goosebumps. So when I first heard Lady Sanity, what she done with setting standards, with Save the Children, it was perfect for what I wanted on the tune. I didn't, all we had to have a conversation, same as Wild Style with you, or, you know what I mean, a G-Bag song, like, or when I took Double Edge up to Morpheus's studio, I didn't even know what he was going to spit on the tune. I just knew that he'd written it, and we was going to the studio for him to do it. And when he started rhyming in the booth, I got goosebumps. And every single song on the album is like that for me, because all of the artists are able to do that for me. They're that talented with songwriting. Like, I think the Badman days are done. I've never been into Badman bars. Like, I'm a muso, innit? So growing up, you know what I mean? We've all been around street dudes, we've all been up, but I was always a muso. So when I make music, I talk about being passionate about music, or how I feel music should be, or what music means to me. You know what I mean? I don't talk about sitting in the flats and selling packs and going and doing this, or, you know what I mean? Which for me, all the artists that are blowing up, all the industry artists that are blowing up, that's all their concept is. It's nothing about the music. It's nothing about upliftment. It's just about being a bad man and hanging on road and being like that. But for me, that it doesn't make sense, because if you're a road man, why are you making music? Just be on the road.
Make real P, like
do that. Like,
money P.
If you're a muso, inspire me with some music stuff. Show me something that's got the X factor. Show me something that's like, whoa, do you hear the way that he did that? That's clever. Nah, man, just want to talk about moving and hanging with mans. But, you know, each to their own anyway. The next generation, I feel like, needs to be inspired to say that that's not the only way. You don't have to just do that. You know, or these simple rhymes. I got to the cat, then I met with the mat. Moved to the back when I got with the hat. Like, yo, that's how man's is rhyming now done.
I know.
Like,
oh shit.
With deep voices and moving, like when I was going to school at Highgate Wood and Gladesmore, people that used to be hanging around, these dudes that I see on the TV are like the dudes that were hanging around.
Oh, sorry, bro. It's just fucking funny.
So it's all about inspiring the new generation, man. That's what it's about. And letting people know that this is the purest form of hip hop. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. Like, there's no old school hip hop. Like, I made beats that I made yesterday are just as hot as the beats I made 30 years ago. And the beats that I'm going to make next year are going to be just as hot. You know why? Because I know my sound. And for when you know your sound and you keep being consistent, that's what it's about. Too many people now is like, oh, you know what? I need a tune that's for the carnival.
Yeah,
I need a tune for the trappers. Oh no, you know what? I need a tune for the boom bap heads. Therefore, you're just limiting yourself. Like, why? Just concentrate on doing you and sticking to your sound, and then it doesn't get muddled up, or whatever, man. Yeah.
Saying all of that, yeah, I want to know, are there any specific tracks on the album that you feel particularly proud of, and what makes them stand out to you?
Ooh. I'm proud of every single song, I have to be honest. Like, and my favourites change throughout different times.
Yeah. Listening to it, yeah.
Like, as I said to you, there's no songs that I wish I didn't do or didn't put on the album. There's no songs. Like, I'm an album artist, innit? So when I make these albums, you're supposed to listen to them from beginning to end. I know we do them a song every month, but that's because now everybody's got goldfish mentality. So you have to keep prodding at them with the same kind of ideas, right? And that leads me on to, now we're also in a time where people are putting out 7 to 10 projects a year.
Yes, mad.
Like, look, each to their own, whatever. But for me, if you're a dope artist, I need to be able to sit and digest a project that you've given to me, not have 2 weeks to listen to it, and then you've got something else 2 weeks later, and then something else 2 weeks later, because I'm not going to want to listen to it continuously.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So my projects are about that. Yeah, we've got the single each month, but if you look at it and go back to the timeline or whatever, every single from January, February, March is in the track listing of the album. So it's still giving you each of the songs. So I did it from January, 10 months, January, February, up until September. Yeah, then we dropped the album, and in December you got to do it, and then next year I'll probably do one more project. Now, for me, that is a good way to show that music has a long shelf life. Like, your music is supposed to last. It's not supposed to be here for 2 weeks or a month and then everyone forgets about it. Like, music you can't sell yourself short like that. People are selling themselves short, as far as I'm concerned, because it's just saturating up the game, and I don't know, like, it's just too much, right? It's just too much for me. So you're supposed to listen to the albums from beginning to end. And when you do that, it's a journey, just like all the albums I listen to, like how albums are supposed to be. And that's what we need to get back into, like, understanding, don't sell yourself short. Like, don't be afraid of, if you put a record out 2 weeks ago, to keep promoting it. Like, don't think because you've promoted it once, people are going to get fed up of seeing it, because it's just take one person to say, oh, you know what, and then you've made another sale. But if you don't promote that same thing and you've moved on to something else, everyone forgets about this thing.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Each to their own. I'm not trying to tell people how to do stuff. I know how I want to do stuff, and I just know how it affects the whole scene, because the UK has got some amazing talent. We've always had some amazing talent. Like, and there's always been dope artists and there's always been whack artists.
Yeah.
Always. Like, it's just now the media has allowed it to be that a lot more of the whack artists are the ones that get pushed. And unless you know about the ones that are underground, you're just not going to hear about them, because people don't share music like that no more.
That's right, you're right.
You know what I mean? So if you got your ear to the street, you'll know about them. And it's all well and good and that, but that's a shame in this day and age. It's a shame, because then the real artists that are pushing the inspiration levels don't inspire. And then we're still in
we get the factory hip hop. That's what I call it, the factory pushed out hip hop.
Yeah, and that's great. Like, there's enough. Look, there should be a box over here for the people that like factory hip hop. You like that, go in there. But I don't want people that like hip hop that I make or hip hop that I love and am involved with to get it mixed up. Like, if you're into the hip hop that's here, you're not gonna go into the factory hip hop box. So that's cool, you know what I mean? But some people are saying, I don't know which one to go into, because whatever, man. It's just confusing. It's frustrating for artists, you know what I mean?
Oh, it definitely is, bruv. It definitely is, but we persist and we try to push through, you know what I mean?
What can you do?
That's right.
You have to just go. All you can do is try to set the standard and try to do something, you know what I mean? Because this is another thing done. The game is so horrible. Like some of my favourite artists don't even make music no more.
Yeah.
They've given up. I'm talking about artists that inspire. I don't even want to say no names because I don't want to put nobody on blast or nothing, you know, but it hurts my heart that some of the artists that I work with don't want to make music no more. And I'm trying to draw them back. Like, yo, I got beats. Like, this is another thing. All these artists that I work with setting standards, I love all of you, but everyone that's on my album, how many people have you seen me that's on my album produce for stuff on their album or feature on their album? Right. So therefore, and no disrespect or nothing, but from when you're in my crew and you're down with me, you know you're getting beats for free, you're getting cuts for free, you're getting studio time for free, you're getting your tunes mixed, you're getting your stuff at a high level, you know what I mean? Where I don't even care about getting paid. Like everyone's like, yeah, but are you gonna pay me though? Like, you got to think about the bigger picture in this situation. Whereas if I grow and we grow together, then obviously you're going to get paid in the long run as long as we all grow. But when you're down here and everyone's like, oh, I need to get paid, I'm not doing it then. So nobody don't grow. It's like, it's frustrating, man.
Well, that's the big thing in it. It's about a lot of people lose themselves in that blur of like art and monetization, where like the money is going to outweigh things in their mind than the art, when really the art has to be there for you to sell. Without the art, you can't sell anything. And a lot of people are not being artistic, they're just following the carrot.
No doubt. And that comes back down to a hip-hop mentality has never been about the money. Like I was raised by my dad was a Rasta done. Money was never important with my upbringing. Don't get me wrong, money is lovely and we all need money, but money is not the be-all and end-all of stuff. So I ain't trying to be as rich as Quincy Jones. I just want people to respect my music like they do somebody like that. So I don't want to be paid. All I want is props, and that's a hip-hop mentality. You know what I mean? And I think that the whole scene would be a lot better if people just gave each other props. Like if somebody needs to have props and you salute them, which is what I do. If there's somebody out there that is dope, I salute them. But what people don't like is if I'm not feeling something and I don't salute them, they get offended by that. Like, my opinion matters. Like, it doesn't matter. Why are you getting offended by that? If I like it, I will like it. I'm not a hater, but if I don't like it, don't get upset because I don't like it because you sound like West Side Gun, or you're rocking stuff like Rock Marciano or Conway or whoever's hot. And when I put on your music, it sounds exactly like that. You ain't gonna get no props from me. I'm sorry, no disrespect. You know what I mean? But if you're cutting edge and you're doing this stuff, and there's people in the industry that are doing that right now, you know what I mean? I will salute you all day long. You know?
How do you balance your role as a producer with your contributions to the lyrics and overall message to the album?
I see them as two different things, you know. And I tell you why I say that as well, because I've got my solo songs on the album, right? So me as an MC, same as you, when you hear my beat, you know how you're gonna want to flow in that track immediately, innit? You know what I mean? So I'm the same like that. But I tell you how it differs for me is like I've just recorded, we've got 3 more tracks to finish before the album is finished, but I've just done an album with King Kashmir, right? One of my favourite artists in the UK, ill MC. Like, for me, one of the best. Like, he's got his own style, he's got his own lane, doesn't sound like no one. You can hear his influences, but it's him, right? We've done an album together, but he's just produced the whole album. And I'm rhyming on it, the whole album. And he gave me the beats and whatever. And again, as a MC writing, not being the producer, it's just brought something out of me as an MC. Like, my rhymes is just iller because I haven't made the beats. So I feel like whether I'm producing or rhyming, I have a hat on that I put on at that time that I'm just tunnel visioned into being an MC or being a producer. When I do the songs together, like Musical Shot or Good Guys Never Win, when I'm making that beat, I'm hearing the rhyme going already. So it's a bit different. It's all written together. When Kashmir gives me a beat, when I hear that beat, the song starts forming in my head. I know you know that too. So it's different. But being around amazing songwriters and sopping all of that in, I have that I have that in everything that I write. All of those, the Noel McCoys and the Mary Roses and the Russell Nashes and all these people that I've worked with and seen, and Paget Kings and Marcus Birch and my dad and all these people that I've seen sit. It's like I have something that I was drawn from then, that when I write and I produce, that comes out every single time. And I know if I didn't have that as a kid, I wouldn't be doing the writing or making the beats the way that I do, because it's all down to that inspiration that I've got done.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I say it's really important that we inspire some new kids. Like, we need some teenagers that want to make real hip-hop music again. There's nothing wrong with that. But right now, unfortunately, all these youngsters want to make trap music. I don't understand why.
Maybe it's because it's like, you know, it's what your peers are doing.
Yeah.
And you know, in their mind, it's current. It's you know, it's what's established right now. So they want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I guess so.
What message or feeling do you hope listeners take away after hearing Setting Standards 4?
I just hope they get inspired. That's what it's about. Like, I hope they get inspired by real beats, real rhymes. You know, never been on a badness thing. Like, never been on the bad man level. Like, you know, there's a lot of American hip hop that was on bad man level as well. Like, you know, some of my favorite groups, from Dre to Snoop to Mobb Deep, but there was something in the music that was special. When you listen to it, it's not just, it's bigger than that. Like, yeah, that's what they're about, but when it comes to the music, it's the music that comes out. It's not the street. The street life comes out in their music, don't get me wrong, but it's about the music.
Yeah.
And I want that again. I want some little youths to be inspired by the greats. You know what I mean? Like the Marvins and the Stevies and the Sly and the Family Stones, and not miss that. They don't need to miss that stepping stone. I think that our generation has missed a trick on showing the ones in between, so passing that ball on. So passing that ball on to this generation, then to the younger, so that the youngers all know about what original music is. And you can see that in nowadays. Like, I was watching an interview with Michael Jackson the other day when he was a young kid, right? And they were asking him, who's your inspiration? And he's talking about James Brown is the person that inspired me to sing and dance, and Sammy Davis Jr. is the person who's inspired me to sing and dance. And Michael Jackson's about 7, 8 years old there. You ask a 8-year-old now who inspires you as a musician, they're not going to go back and tell you somebody from back in the days, you know? They're going to tell you someone like, unfortunately, Taylor Swift or Harry Styles, or somebody that's in the charts right now. And we need urban leaders to guide some of these kids, to say you can do it like this. Look, the time will tell, and I ain't never gonna stop making music, right? I'm always gonna be pushing this narrative, and hopefully it will come to fruition. Whether it does or whether it doesn't, it doesn't matter to me. It's in the Most High. Only the Most High knows, isn't it? So all we can do is just try to keep it real and stand for something that will lift up and bring it back, because music is a spiritual thing, as I said to you, and it's important, man. It's important. It's gone out of people's lives, done. When we was growing up, it's in everyone's lives, even people that are not into music. Everyone had a record collection, everybody had tapes or their favorite songs. It's different now. Like, nobody is engulfed. Music is not part of people's day-to-day life. Some people, musos it is, but if you're not a muso, it's not. And back in the days, if you wasn't a muso, it was part of your life, you know? So
what do you hope your legacy will be within UK hip-hop? The scene, especially with the Setting Standards franchise, or series, I should say.
Yeah, I hope it's going to stand for something. I got, you know, like 15, 16 amazing artists that stand at, you know, on their own, within their own right. They've all got great discographies. They're all amazingly talented artists. So I'm hoping that if somebody picks up on that, you know, like how I did with some of the early Tribe samples, then learning about the players and different labels and then from this Setting Standards, they can find out about Big Cakes. They can find out about Teach 'em. You know what I mean? They can find out about G-Bag. They can find out about Arise King David. because it branches out. It's not just about sitting standards.
Yeah.
But from that, you got this amalgamation of, you know, you got a lyric that says on one of the tunes, it says, what happened to the movement, because ain't not a movement, nostalgic, got them in the casket snoozing. That's how the whole scene feels, done.
Yeah.
And we was trying to do the hip hop movement. Rest in peace to my brother Leke, Aerosol, who hooked us up with the hip hop movement garms, and everybody was rocking it, and it looked like, you know, we got a movement here. But then when it's time to do shows, and I'm calling certain people to do shows, people don't want to do shows. They don't want to do the tunes, or they don't want to do this, or they don't want to do that, or I don't want to do the video, or no, I'm not feeling that song. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, it's very sad. I've come across a lot of that, and again, I think, you know what I'm starting to learn is a lot lately is that you don't watch what people say, watch what people do.
Yeah.
And it's the action that is the real language.
That's what's
you know,
up,
it's one thing saying that you're a hip hop purist and you're you know, you care about the movement and all that, and if you're not actually actively being a part of it, like in the physical, like you've written your bars or whatever, but it takes more than just, if you're not doing all of that, you might as well leave it alone, innit? But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt.
What I want to ask you though is, how has the fans responded to the previous albums, and you know, how did that feedback influence your work on this latest installment?
Yeah, I have to big up like my like-minded people that's out there that always support, and it's always the same people, you know, that support. I have to be honest. I gotta give you all props and shout you out, man, because like it's hard to be selling music nowadays, right? Everybody wants your music for free, you know what I mean? I've always given out my music for free, whether it's records, CDs. I'm just like that. Like, oh, you ain't got no money? Take my record, check it out. Because I believe in it. When you put the needle on the record, you're going to be like, this is dope. How is he giving this to me for free? I've always been like that. Yeah. It's more about getting props and getting respect. You're dope, then here's £10 for your record. I'd rather get the props.
Right.
That's just me, though. Sorry, what was the question?
It was just about your the fans,
right?
And, you know.
So I have to, everybody that supports, I call them friends more than fans, because they're like-minded people, you know what I mean? And these are people that will buy number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4.
Yeah.
My plan is to, so we got the 4 setting standards albums, we got the DJ version, yeah? Then you got 4 instrumental albums, which is just the instrumentals on vinyl. That hasn't come yet. And then my whole plan in the long run is to do everybody's single that you see with the 45 label and everyone's got their colours. I want to do that on a 45. So everyone will have their own song with the colours and the stamp, and therefore, like Street Sounds Electro from 1 to 17, you got setting standards 1 to 24, right. Because there's 47 releases in the whole of setting standards. 47 different songs. You know what I mean? 47 different instrumentals. Yeah? And that goes back to people always supporting, because as long as I can break even, as long as I can press my record up and break even, yeah, which I'll be honest with people here right now, it don't even have to sell that much. Like let's be honest here, in the UK, let's say I press 1,000 records, yeah, it's gonna take me maybe just under 100 of those records to sell before I make all my money back on what I've spent to make the records.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Then, after I recoup my money, I've got all these records sitting there that I can do with what I want. So I can give them out to people, I can sell them, I can use them as a business card, basically. Yeah. Instead of saying to people, oh, go check out my website, go check out my thing, go download my music. You're actually giving them something. You know what I mean? Now, to me, that is where it's at. That's where we need to be getting back to. Physical product, where people is looking at the album cover, looking at where it was mixed, when it was done, what year, all the credits, everything, reading it, and they'll be able to put it in somewhere and have it as their possession. You know what I mean? Once we start doing that again, it's going to be great. And I have to salute everyone that supported setting standards, because people get it. The people that buy the music on vinyl from me are ones that want to collect the whole thing. And as long as I have those people are in my corner and that believe in what I'm doing, then as long as I break even on each record, then I'm good, done. I don't need to make no money. You know what I mean? And you got a lot of people that are putting records out at the moment. I have to state this, and you know, they're pressing up 100 copies of the record and putting it out on vinyl. Like that, well, that's gonna cost them more money to do that than to press 1,000 records and have stuff to move with after. So it's like everybody's selling themselves short to look like they're doing something, and therefore the scene is not growing anymore. Because the scene is like, it's non-existent for one. There is a scene there, you know what I mean? But as I said to you, everyone within the UK scene buys each other's records. I know I buy everything on Boot Records, or I'll buy Michael Parkinson's records, or, you know what I mean? Like, we all support each other. I don't know if they support me, vice versa, but I know that I've always done that, you know? And that's what's needed. We need some community again in UK, you know?
I definitely agree, bro. Community is a bit it's a bit sparse. I think a lot of people, it's very cliquey.
Right.
But I get that, but at the end of the day, like, sometimes we need to connect and bounce and make that that spark, if you want to call it.
You know, and clicky is good, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. I don't really want to be down with your clique if you're over there. We got our clique over here. I'm good. I got more than enough MCs that are dope. You know what I mean? Like, I got more. But the thing is, again, as a movement, as a collective, why are we not utilizing that, man? Why are we not all coming together and doing a world tour where you do some of your songs and we do these songs? We could do that, but nobody wants to do that. Like,
that's real.
So, but all I'm gonna do is keep it moving, and you will see me doing shows. Like, I got a band now, like a live band, like I did in Nash. But at first, we're gonna just have the MPC on stage. I'm talking to right now legends of UK hip hop DJs that I want to have on stage with me, like as a band of DJs. So you see how much cuts I have in my songs and whatnot.
Yeah.
You got the DJs on stage doing those cuts live, but not no normal DJs. I'm talking about veteran DJs for the UK. We need to be doing stuff like that. So when we go to Australia and we go to France and we go over to Europe and we go to all these places that love hip hop, we just look mad professional, like, yo, this is where it's at.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't have the visionary mindset, because as you're saying that, I'm thinking, you know, like, there's certain artists that in my mind I always think like, oh, I would love to see these two collaborate, or why don't this producer work with that one? That would sound so amazing. And I think a lot of people don't have that innovative sort of buzz at the moment. You know, I'm just picking people at random, like, let me just pick anybody at random, like, you know, I don't think we'll ever see it, but you know, like Rakim and Big Daddy Kane, imagine if they said, look, let's just drop an album tomorrow.
That's what's up.
You know how that will set the whole scene on fire? Like, oh my God, you got the... You know that,
but this is another thing. So Rakim just dropped an album, but he produced most of the beats. Right. And he's got my brother Chino XL, rest in peace, he's on there. He's got Corrupt on there. He's got some amazing. But the hip hop community are hating on the album because Rakim doesn't rhyme enough on it. So everybody's always got something to say about something. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. But you know what? Yeah, but that's why, like, salute to him, because at the end of the day, still do your thing. Because I will say I haven't listened to the whole album. I've listened to a few songs. Right. But the songs are dope. Yeah. But my point is, like, yeah, we just need more innovative people.
This is what's up, man.
And more creative, more artists who do artistry. Like,
there's guys in America, like, you know, we're talking about Chino and Rakim. There's guys in America that broker stuff in America. So there's the in-between guys. A lot of them I don't really like, I don't get on with. I've had dealings with some of these guys, you know what I mean? And they're very arrogant. They don't really make music, but they make things happen. And I feel like that's the thing we're missing in the UK. We don't have... we don't have a management base, or we don't have some kind of promotion or PR base for hip hop music in this country where the people understand hip hop music.
But wouldn't you say it's like a thing where I don't think that they care enough. You see how you're passionate and you've got these thoughts and feelings about them. I don't think there's people out here really who have that same sort of mentality that want to preserve that feel, that sound of a type of music.
I think it's not lucrative enough.
I think it is
because they're business minded. I mean, it is lucrative, but it's only lucrative if you're willing to do the Cardi B route and do what's happening that way, right?
But that's my point. I think it's more of of what they think and feel is current.
Right, 'cause
and
they don't
making the easy
understand.
buck. The easy buck is to make that type of
Right.
music. But then what that means is you're not actually an artist now. You're just a person who's doing the factory music. You're churning out what's out there now, rather than it coming from within and you just creating. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right, but then it comes back to, that's the problem with the management, because then the management are only thinking about dollar signs and pound signs.
Yeah.
They don't understand that it's more about growing the music, or if we put this music out, you know, like hip hop is an illegal music. Let's not get it twisted, right? I've had many conversations with people in this game that feel like they want to do everything correctly. We got to write out PRS. We got to do all this stuff. Our songs are not going to get played on the radio. We're not going to be put in an advert with this song, right? So the only thing you're doing by doing all of this and making it as legal as you can is putting yourself under the eye of people to come back and say, oh, what's that you used in your song? What are you doing here? It doesn't make sense. We need management that understand that there ain't really no money in this grassroots. But once we start building, there's money in touring, there's money in building, but everybody's thinking about getting paid. It's the same thing. People don't want to feature with each other because they don't think about how the song can promote them. They think about, am I going to get paid? You're going to give me 150 for the song. Like, yo, it's the wrong mentality.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that's where we're at, man.
Future projects. Are there any plans for additional projects or collaborations that might continue the Setting Standard story?
Yeah, I've spoken about some today, but I feel like the 7 years, I feel like I've run this course now. I think if we was to do anything else, I would definitely like to do more standards album with my favourite producers. Chairman Math, Farmer G, Deluxe Beats, Michael Parkinson.
I think that would be dope.
You know, just like people that I think are amazing producers, and then they get the songs and then they make the beats they want to make. It's a whole nother album. But I think as far as me doing collaboration albums like I have with Setting Standards, I think this is what it's going to be now. I never say never, because who knows? You know how I'm a creative person at heart. So whatever happens, happens. I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like I've done what I wanted to do as far as features and trying to fly the flag for UK hip hop so far. And the proof is in the pudding. You can go back to those 4 albums and always listen to what we did and what we created, you know what I mean? There'll be lots more music coming. Like, you know, the Cyclonius knows what's up. We've got albums sitting here that were made 2000 in the 2015, before 2015, that still ain't even come out. That amazing projects done. But because we're not in no rush, like most people would have put them out by now. Let's just fling them out. Let's just put them out, and then they get forgotten about.
Yeah.
But because for me, like, these projects mean something. And they'll be able to come out in 10 years' time. It won't be that long, but they would be able to, and nobody would know no difference. So I'm always going to be working. I'm always going to be making music. Whether I put it out or not is another thing, you know what I mean? Because it costs me, myself, a lot of money to be able to do what I'm doing. And I don't get the money back. You know what I mean? So I got my teenage kids and my big man son who looks at me and they know what I do and they believe in what I do, but they look at me and say, yo, but Dad, you're supposed to be, and I'm like, that's not important. You know what I mean? I will always be making music. I just don't know how or when or why. And as I said, we got mad albums. Like, I got a whole BBE album that Cyclonius got beats on, Chairman Math, Deluxe Beats, like, that nobody's ever heard. That, do you know what I mean? Like, we got mad stuff in the whole. So yeah, we'll always be creating and making music and never stopping, I don't think. I'm too passionate not to. I'll have to be in the ground, I reckon, though. You know what I mean?
How do you see the Setting Standards series contributing to the cultural landscape of UK hip hop?
I hope it inspires other people to do the same kind of thing, like producer albums, where it's just one producer showcasing themselves and their sound, and then having different artists to come and bring colours to that and add their thing. I think that is really, like, I'd like to see a lot of producers in the UK do that kind of thing. Like, salute Harry Love, one of the illest producers in the UK. done from time, like produced classics upon classics of UK hip hop. He should have an album like Setting Standards without a shadow of a doubt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just done an album called Speechless, which Harry Love salute. Always, beats are always dope. But that's the thing that I always talk about, done, like that X factor. You gotta have that something special. Like when I hear your bars or I hear your beats, if it ain't got that something special, or I hear an inch of biting, like you're biting someone out, it's not hip hop enough for me. So Harry Love should have albums like that. Michael Parkinson should have an album like that. Yellow Point is already producing for loads of American artists. There's so many producers, like I can't even think, that are in the UK. Chairman Math, like you should put the album you did with Chairman Math out on vinyl.
Well, do you know what?
That's an amazing album, bruv.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm in the process of because if I'm correct, that only came out on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
So I'm
and CD, right?
Yeah, but I'm looking to re-establish it so it comes out on all major platforms.
Yeah, done.
And then hopefully after that, if there is an interaction from a lot of people, then it can move on to bigger and better things. Because the album's dope, and to be fair, I'm the only person that's made an actual album.
Chairman Math is an ill producer.
Yeah, that's right.
Ill producer.
One of my most favourite in the UK.
Yeah,
other than you, like I would say, like definitely Chairman Math.
Ill producer, man. You got X Factor. When you listen to the beats, it's undeniable. Like you're like, this guy understands. He understands hip hop.
Yeah,
you know what I
definitely.
mean? That's what it is. When you listen to Tribe, they understand hip hop. When you listen to Dilla, Madlib, they understand hip hop. It's the same thing with these cats in the UK, but they get no props.
That's right.
It's annoying, man.
That's right.
You know?
What advice would you give to aspiring hip hop artists looking to establish themselves in the UK music scene?
You just got to stick to your guns, man. Like. It's a purist thing again. It always comes back to this, because I was that guy at school, the hip hop purist dude, when everyone wanted to go jungle raves. This jungle is mad, girls in the jungle. I was like, I ain't going to listen to that. What are you talking about? I want to go to Shabeen, or listen to some Roots, or listen to some, you know what I mean, hip hop. Let's go down to Vauxhall and listen to. I don't want to go to jungle raves. I don't want to go to garage raves. I'm not into that music. But then that's when things started changing. And a lot of the people that went into hip hop with me started getting into drum and bass, getting into garage, and then they moved over to grime. Now they don't even make hip hop no more. Like, so what was the question?
Well, the question was just about advice for future artists in the UK.
Just keep it real and stick to your guns, man. If you want to do music like the people that inspired you to do it, just do it, man. Don't let nobody tell you can't do that. Like, too many people are like, oh, you can't do that. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, it goes with a pinch of salt. You can, there's rules to this stuff, innit? You know what I mean? If you want to go make house music or pop music, you can break all those rules. You can do whatever you want, make as much money as you want. And I'll give you props and say congratulations. You know what I mean? Do your thing. But if you want to be in this hip hop thing, it's gotta be proper, like it's gotta be how it's supposed to be, you know? And we're at a point where, as I said, the bad man thing is done. Nobody wants to see roadman thing no more. Everybody's kind of fed up with the commerciality of hip hop as well. Like, no disrespect, Pharrell Williams is an amazing producer. Can be very overrated. Like, all these cats are very overrated. Music is very tinny. He's got his sound, and it hasn't really, for me, it worked in the 90s, that sound, although I wasn't really into it. But when you listen to it now, for me, it sounds even more tinnier. You know what I mean? When I listen to Studio One records that were made before I was born, they don't sound tinny, you know, done.
Yeah. They don't. They hold their weight.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're at a point where the popcorn music took over and everybody wanted to get paid and not use samples and use keyboards. And now that sound is dying out, mate. So it's about everything goes 360, everything goes around. And I will say again, not just to pull out Pharrell, because Pharrell produced some amazing stuff as well. But the majority of the stuff I'm not really feeling. There's too many cats in hip hop right now that are called legends that are overrated. That are overrated. They're not consistent enough. Like, they have one ill joint and then the next 2-3 joints are just not ill. Then the next one, oh yeah, they're back. This is dope. No, it's all over the place. in me coming up, the music was consistent. Everybody was consistently dope. Nowadays, it's like so that's another thing, man. You gotta set the bar high and know you gotta be not average in this thing, man. You know what I mean? You gotta be special.
Yeah, stand out. And well, just to add on to that, you know, I remember the times of me coming up rapping. You had to sound unique. You know, you couldn't sound like anybody else. You know, that's rapping wise or production wise. And I think now it's very different. A lot of people will gravitate to a certain sound. Going back to what you're saying about certain songs being released, why are they going to go away, be artistic and create something new when they can just make something like what's out there?
But you know what? No disrespect, but that was happening when I was working at Greenwood Studios. Like, there's always been bandwagon people, like, and studios kind of work like that. This is what's hot at the moment. And at that time as well, people was pressing their records up and then selling them in the West End at the weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was a lot more, it made sense to do it that way because it was like, you was just making that thing to sell it, to move on to something else quickly. You know? Now it's not like that no more. Like, so it has to have substance. Like who's hitting me off right now? Like, consistently dope. Let me think about this right now. Consistently, I can't even think of anybody like that nowadays. You know, since Dilla passed, you know, Dilla was the only one that was consistent throughout his whole career. Like, even my favorite producer right now, Madlib, he's not consistent. Some stuff is there, some stuff, like Alchemist, he just won Best Producer of the Year. Like, some of his beats are amazing. Stuff he done with Prodigy, amazing. Some of his stuff, but then other stuff I'm not feeling. I'm not feeling it. But you know what I mean? But everybody says he's the GOAT, he's the best, whatever, right now. It's overrated for me. Like, creatively wise, like, it's just one sample going. The beat ain't produced, like, overly produced. It's very, very scarce. Like, they might just chop up a sample and, you know what I mean? But we're talking about, if you can chop up the sample in a clever way, then why not make it even better? Like, I don't know, it's just me. I feel like I'm getting old in this thing. I feel like I'm moaning like an old blooming man, you know what I mean? But it's because I'm passionate and I study this music still. I know what's going on. I can see it. So, hopefully, you know, only the Most High knows, man. All we can do is keep making music and trying to stand for something when nobody don't stand for nothing no more.
Well, this conversation right now is about your personal insights.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I wouldn't take it as that. It's just something where you're, you know, like you said, you're passionate and you're delivering your thoughts and your feelings. And as we're dealing with the word personal, I wanted to know your personal insights and your future. So, you know, how has your personal life influenced your music over the years, particularly in this latest album?
It's all engrossing. Like, my life is my music, done. Like, whatever's going on in my life gets put into my music, whether lyrically or emotionally or beats wise, or whether I make beats or not. It's my life right now that dictates that. You know what I mean? And it's always been like that for me. I've always been inspired by other things, like, you know, going back to People Under Pressure music, when he used to play me all the new stuff, like this, and this is stuff that nobody else would hear, because he used to go through everything and filter out all the rubbish, listen to every album that was out and just get the good joints. Yeah. And then if you listen to that album, it's like, you'd probably miss those joints. But because he's picking them out, like, this is, so it was just constantly dope hip hop. Unfortunately, in this day and age, we don't have nobody that's the filter no more. So all you get is just an array of everybody's music all at once, and unless you know where to go and look, you're just gonna be you're gonna be what, there's mad music everywhere and it's not good enough. You have to know where to go to. So personally, my personal life is very important in the way that I make music, create music, and the way it sounds, and whether it gets finished or not. You know?
Dopeness, brother. You know, before we wrap everything up, where's the I just want people to get like an actual live viewing of the merchandise you bought
Yes,
today.
done.
So this is
the new album, Setting Standards 4. Comes on yellow vinyl, marble, black and red marble in there.
I think when I saw it on the social media, I really like the way that it looks.
No, that needs to be unsealed.
Oh,
Do they all vary? Because that's the thing with marble as well. Marble designs they all vary. Every piece will be different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So some will be yellow, some will have black in there, some will have red.
So when they buy that out, the vinyl, do they get the CD?
Yeah, CD comes with it, and that's the instrumentals. The whole same album, instrumentals. It's funny because Setting Standards 4 has an instrumental CD.
Yeah.
Setting Standards 3 has an instrumental CD. But Setting Standards 2 has the DJ version of Setting Standards on CD plus some bonus tracks.
Right.
And Setting Standards 1, the CD was basically the album,
right,
but with a few bonus tracks as well.
Yeah.
So I always try to give whoever's buying something a little bit extra.
Yeah.
Not only saying that, so you get the instrumental album in there, but anybody that buys from me and I have a one-on-one relationship, they know that I throw in 45s in there, probably another record, loads of CDs if I have them, because whoever's buying from me, I just want them to feel, I want them to understand how much I appreciate them. So I try and give them more than what it's worth. And I already do that with giving them the record for £25 with the instrumentals and everything, like. But then I still want to give people more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just the way that I've always been, though, you know?
Just so everybody can see, this is Setting Standards 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was last year's album.
Yeah, dopeness. Again, CD available there too.
Instrumental comes with it, yep.
And
then I brought aside this album, which was Farmer G's Volume 2, which we feature on as Uhuru. He's got some amazing UK rappers on there. Good album. Big shout to Farmer G, man, for having us on there. But yeah, it's The Force and Cyclonius are Uhuru.
Yeah, we're Uhuru.
I mean? And we got joints for days. We've got a whole album. Like, and this is another thing as well. Like, I've always been into major labels or trying to get a deal, because people say nowadays, oh, you don't need a deal, right? Mm-hmm. You're just gonna put yourself in debt, you know. But at the end of the day, you don't make money unless you spend money.
That's right.
So if you have a machine behind you, you're gonna sell more. You're probably gonna spend more money and owe more money, but your thing is gonna grow. You know what I mean? And therefore, you're gonna make more money and have more opportunities to make money, right? I was trying to sell the Uhuru album to all the labels in the UK, because I felt like it needed a machine. Not one of those labels, that maybe one of those labels was interested, but I was expecting people to be on it. And I was quite disheartened and upset that nobody was on it, right? But it's a blessing in disguise, because when it comes for us to put the record out ourselves, we're gonna benefit from it. And I'll tell you why. For every record I press, yeah, it costs £25 to buy that record, yeah? Now, when I sell that record to you, you have something that I've made, that I've actually made right there, that you hold forever and you can have forever for £25. There's some people that will buy a little green to blow, whatever, £25, go out, spend £50 on a meal, £20 on a drink, £20 on a meal, go to the cinema for £40. You do that, it's done. With this record, you buy it from me and it's yours forever. You hold on to it. It's a part of something. You know what I mean? Then, if I sell 40,000 units done of that record, like I did with Nash, and I'm selling each of them individually myself for £25, that is a whole heap of money. You get. You don't all get it at once. It's a long, you know, it takes a long time to do it.
Yeah.
But you get all that money. When you're signed to a major label, they pay to press your records. They pay if you're going to do videos, if you want to do this, you want to do that. All of that comes out of that, and then you owe that back to them, right? Which is all well and good, you know what I mean? If you're making the money. So my whole thing is, do it yourself. Press your records yourself. break even, make your money back, and then you got your business card. So when you go away and you meet somebody, you don't know who you're going to meet. Imagine you meet somebody, you go to America, I don't know, you meet someone that's into management, you give them your record. Before you know it, I don't know, you're producing for Common. I don't know, let's just say. But this is because you took the incentive to buy your thing and have something more than it is just writing in a link into something on your phone, which everybody does. And therefore, the scene grows again. Like, records are really important right now for the regrowth of music. And I tell you why, because... And another thing is people are scared to invest in themselves. Like, they'd rather get somebody else that owns a label to spend £2,000 to press up their record. And then that person is getting each of the sales done until they make their money back. Right? Whereas if you're doing it yourself and you've paid for that, once you make your money back, everything is just yours. Like, it makes much more sense to do it that way. But I would still like to have a label, because if we had a machine, if Setting Standards had a machine where every month I had £1,500 to £2,000 to do for promotion, to get on TV, to make adverts, to do these things, to maybe get radio play. You got money. When you got money, you're moving, you're doing stuff. It's easier to do it. Like, we need to get back to artists. We need to get back to artists feeling like they can succeed by doing it themselves, but everybody's scared to do it because they feel like they ain't gonna succeed, and therefore we're just stagnant in the same place. You know?
Hey yo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.